Hi everyone, so here's this week's energy update for you. Over the past few days, I felt a lot of very high frequency energy coming in. Did a couple of meditations earlier at the start of the week where the energies that were coming through were very much of that kind of purity of source energy. So high, very high vibrational, very filled with love in its kind of universal, unconditional sense, and that interconnectedness of every light being, deepening that understanding that we are all beings of light having a human experience. And when you go into those kind of high vibrational states, those high frequency meditations or explorations, then you can really be connected to and feel on quite a profound level just how much you're a light being. Um, it's different to just understanding the words when you actually have the experience and really go into that kind of purity. So it's a really great place to be, to explore. And I feel like it's a good time for anyone who hasn't already done that to begin to do so, because at the moment that energy is quite conducive to that kind of exploration. Sometimes we have times where there is more intensity, um, or there's energy coming through for different reasons, maybe more to do with clearing or shadow work. So while it's in this kind of high frequency, lovely source kind of feeling, it's definitely a good time to make that connection. I did a meditation a few days ago where I connected to the mantis beings. I've experienced them a few times before. For those who are unfamiliar, they're an ET race. I don't know which star system they're from. That's not sort of been directly conveyed to me, although I've heard other people's theories. The mantis beings are incredibly old, and their energy is one of the most loving, compassionate kinds of energy that I've ever encountered. They communicate purely telepathically, they don't use words. So everything that you perceive from them is like a feeling or a vision. And they are just so incredibly gentle, even though they look a little bit freaky when you first encounter them. But you can really feel, once you get kind of close to them and allow them in, that they're here for the ultimate uplifting of consciousness, and their guidance is really on a feeling of that higher frequency, that sort of purity, and compassion and love. They did convey to me, they actually channeled through some light language, and when it channels through from them, it sounds different to sometimes other beings that channel that through. And they did convey to me that they gave language to humans, to the ancient Egyptians, way back at the sort of at the time when civilization was forming, that they were able to convey these sort of sounds in order for language to be formed by those people. Not saying that they are the ones wholly responsible for forming language, but that the ancient Egyptians, that theirs came from them. So yeah, that's an interesting one, because anything that they convey is quite profound. And obviously the ancient Egyptians had a lot of understanding of the spirit and the soul, and spent a lot of time focusing on that too. I also saw a galaxy which was representing source energy, and that showed me how you can perceive a whole universe in a small concept and move into it and move into that energy and feel that interconnectedness again. So again, that's moving in with the kind of high frequency interconnectedness to source energy that's been coming through. And another concept that was conveyed to me was to do with the balance of masculine and feminine energy. It's something that I talk about quite often. I felt that it's quite important because so many times in human civilizations in the past, we've had either a patriarchal or a matriarchal society. So the energy of one has been more prominent than the other, and usually there is then collapse or fallout or warfare, and I believe that a lot of that is a result of the energies being out of balance, of one being more in control than the other, and feeling that feminine energy is so much on the rise at the moment. It's kind of been a concern to me that it shouldn't fall out of balance. So if the rising consciousness is all coming from the female side, the male side needs to um, also be part of that in order for us to rise all together, for our consciousness to rise all together. And something that they showed me was how this female consciousness is rising, but not to kind of be concerned about the fact that that seems to be more prominent, because it is that very event in itself. It's the rising of feminine energy and feminine consciousness that will then resonate out to the masculine energy and lift that with it as well, instead of kind of overtaking it and becoming out of balance, because it's rising in a different way. It's not rising in a physical way of human experience of women wanting to take power. It's rising in a way of consciousness, in the states of consciousness, in the states of energy, and that works in a very different way to trying to convey ideas or encourage people to behave in certain ways. That's human experience. So we're talking about the energetics here, and as the consciousness rises, that affects the human experience and the physical experiences too. And I did see that although we're going through times of chaos at the moment, they did kind of show me a very peaceful outcome as a result of these two energies coming into more balance and harmony. So I feel very optimistic about where we're going, even though I can perceive that there is a lot of chaos and a lot of trauma for people as they go through this integration process, as we go through this ascension process. But I think that the further through that process we go, the more we shift into higher frequencies, and so that affects how our perception of time, everything moves faster, changes happen quicker, and therefore we're able to experience the uplift and the joy sooner than it might sound, or than we might expect it to be, because we're looking at it through human eyes at the moment. So I hope some of that's been of some help to you, and look forward to seeing you next time.